Thank you very much for your attention this morning. I'll run you through the Pacgold story. So we're a gold exploration company. We're located in far north Queensland. It's a very healthy part of Queensland for large profitable gold mines. Approximately 40 million ounces of gold has come out of that part of the world. So for us, Alice River Gold Project, we've achieved some outstanding success in the past 6 to 8 months, and that's been on the back of a high-grade gold discovery. And how we've achieved that is by applying modern exploration to an overlooked historical gold field, and that's how we've created. So the high-grade discovery, some of the numbers that we've released to the market as part of that discovery: 17 metres at 9.3, including 3 at 25. And 43 at 3, including 6 at 17 grams gold. Now these are all brand new numbers and underpin the sort of success for us to move forward as we move towards resource development on this project. So we're well funded, and we're going to be commencing an aggressive drill program in the next week, in fact, and that program will extend over 18 months, and that work will focus on the new F1A high-grade zone that we've identified. Just a snapshot on the company. You'll see the share graph in the centre of the slide there. Now, we IPO'd in July last year at 25 cents, and on the back of high-grade gold discoveries, we've achieved some substantial discovery-driven growth in the company, and that's what's underpinned us being the best-performing gold IPO on the ASX for 2021. As I mentioned, we're well funded. We've currently got $9.3 million in cash, and we're midway through a rights issue, which is fully underwritten, and that'll be for an additional $3.2 million. So at the end of that process, in a few weeks' time, we'll be well funded with approximately $12 million in cash, and that's what's going to fund the drilling for the next 18 months. And as part of those capital raises, including the IPO, we've had substantial, strong institutional investment support in the company, and the likes of Resource Capital Funds, Acorn Fund, and its institutional investors. They make up just over 20% of the register. So that's a fantastic endorsement for the company. We've got a very tight capital structure with only 61 million shares on issue, so that's going to help sort of drive growth with such a tight capital structure. And with the current share price of about 70 cents, where our current market cap is just over $40 million. So that leaves, on the back of more successful discovery sort of driven growth through additional drilling, we see that we'd like to think that gives us plenty of upside to grow the company. So just an overview on the project. The project has been overlooked for about 20 years, and that's because it was held inside a private company. And we acquired the project in December 2020. We acquired it 100%, and that project came with 8 granted mining leases and a number of granted exploration permits. The photo on the top left there, in about the centre of the photo, you'll see the open pit mine. That produced about 30,000 ounces at 5.5 grams back in the 80s and 90s. It's because there's some excellent infrastructure on site. We've got an operating airstrip, existing camp, large freshwater dam, and there's an old mill there as well. It's an old CIP plant, and it's a good example on how they used to treat the ores on the project. So the figure on the left there, we've got about 30 kilometres of gold corridor locked up in granted exploration permits, but our focus really is on a 7 kilometre long belt in the centre of that area. And the figure on the right there, that shows the 7 kilometre long zone. The central target in the centre of that figure, that's really where our exploration's focused to date, and that's where we've achieved the discovery success of what we call the F1A zone. So I'll be running you through the central target, the southern target, and then the northern target. So this figure on the right here is that 7 kilometre long zone. That's all the IP resistivity geophysics that we've collected since we completed the IPO. They're all the IP sections lined up over 7 kilometres, and then it's just rolled obliquely over in 3D. If I draw your attention to the blue and the purple on that section, you can see it extending over 7 kilometres, the whole length of the survey. And what that represents is a resistivity low, and that resistivity low is what's mapping out the gold mineralisation on the project. The reason it shows up as such a strong contrast and maps out so well is we've got a granitic host rock, and where that granite's unaltered, it's quite strongly resistive, but as soon as you shear it and put the gold fluid through it, it creates a strong contrast, creating a resistivity low. We're the first company to have ever applied this geophysical survey to the project, and we've had enormous success. This is probably the biggest step forward for achieving the discovery success we've made, this geophysical data. And the figure on the left there, that's a drill section, and you can see how well the gold mineralisation matches up with the resistivity low. So this figure on the left here, this is a long section through the central target, and you can see the scale bar down the bottom there of 200 metres. There's the open pit in the top centre of the figure. The small dots on here are the historical drill holes, and the large dots are the drill holes that we've completed as part of our initial drill program since the IPO. The colour coding on there, the yellow represents what we call the upper low-grade gold zone, and the red equates to what we define as the high-grade target zone. And you can see that from top to bottom on that figure is about just over 300 metres. If we look at the top right photograph, that piece of drill core, you'll see there's two different colours of silica in that. The grey silica is the low-grade gold, and that's what equates to the yellow in that long section, and the white is where we see the high-grade gold, and that's what equates to the red in that figure. So a big part of our discovery success has been the application of a brand new model for this project, and part of that model is you transition from the shallow low-grade gold zone. As you go deeper into the system, you transition into the white silica, which contains the high-grade gold. And that's exactly what we've done here, and we've achieved some amazing success. You can see the section there, 17 metres at 9.3 and 43 at 3. And even further to the north there along strike, we're looking at about 1 kilometre of strike along that long section. But even well to the north, some of our very first drill holes we're hitting in the target structure. We're hitting 2 metres at 10. So we're opening up this structure along strike, but it's particularly exciting that the model is fitting together perfectly for us. So we'll zoom into the centre of that figure. So the figure on the right there's a 100 metre scale bar. We're looking at, from surface below the pit, we're looking down about 300 metres. So at about midway down through that figure, you'll see the intersection 17 metres at 9.3, 43 at 3. Now all these are recent drill holes, and everything is just completely open at depth. And according to our model, the mineralisation should extend to depth and could potentially improve with grade as we transition deeper. The deepest hole on the project there is 300 metres below surface, and that hole intersected 86 metres at a gram. And all the work, the studies that we're doing on the core suggests that even that zone there should potentially improve with grade as we transition deeper into the system. The figure on the left there, that's a slice through the IP geophysics, and again the blue and the purple is mapping out the target zone. So that we've defined well over sort of 1 kilometre of strike there in the geophysics. So the drilling that we've got planned in the coming, commencing in a week's time, but over the coming 12 months, is going to extend this zone, the long section. It's going to extend it down beyond doing step out and expansion drilling to extend this zone down to 500 to 600 metres depth, and then also expand it along strike as we go. If we just look at one of the drill sections, we're looking immediately underneath the open pit. One of our early holes was straight in under the open pit to get some modern geology, and 16 metres at 3. But what importantly came out of that drill hole was some of the early indications that suggested we needed to go deeper in the gold system. So you can see that we stepped out with quite a bullish hole. We stepped out 150 metres below the previous drilling and intersected 43 at 3, including 6 at 17. Now this is a stunning drill result, but it's importantly that everything's just completely open at depth. If we now just move along strike, we're about 60 metres south of the open pit. On surface here, you get a 3 metre wide quartz vein, rock chip it, you get 0.1 gram gold. But what we could see was the textures suggested we needed to go deeper in this system. So that's exactly what we did, combined with the IP geophysics that guided our drilling to follow this zone deeper. Our first hole hit 6 metres at 0.7, but the textures said go deeper. So we drilled another hole, 26 at 3.6, and again we drilled deeper, and that's where we intersected 17 at 9.3, including 3 at 25. And that's a stunning result, but importantly, again, everything is just completely open at depth. If we move, we're going to move to the south of the central target, so we're now going to move to the southern target. So we've just looked at 1.5 kilometres of strike here at the central target. If we now move to the southern target, again, we've come into... This southern target actually had a fair bit of exploration done in the late 80s, and it was actually some of the widest gold mineralisation that had been identified on the project. But there'd been no drilling on this target in over 30 years, so we've come in here with modern exploration, the modern geophysics, and a first pass drill program to put everything in context for the first time. And now we're at a point now where we can apply all the learning that we've just achieved with the discovery success at the central target. We can apply all that thinking here and work out exactly where we need to transition deeper into the system to intersect the high-grade gold. So this is certainly our second priority target. But being the widest zone of mineralisation on the project, we're going to be really excited to follow this zone deeper and see where the high grade may kick in. So that, as I mentioned, that's the second priority target. Our third priority target is the northern target. Again, we can see all the IP geophysics there rolled over. You can see the resistivity low cutting right through, extending well to the north. The most northern hole from the central target we've drilled intersected 2 metres at just under 10, and 2.5 kilometres further to the north, there's some old historical drilling that intersected 6 metres at just under 5 grams. But that whole area is under shallow sand cover, and we can now use the IP geophysics to map out the main target zone that really hasn't been effectively tested. So this is an area that we'll be working up in the next 12 months as well. And if we now step back and look at the whole regional project pipeline, so we've just focused on the 7 kilometre zone in the central there. But historically, there's a lot of sand cover on this project, so the historical exploration was successful in finding where the mineralisation, the prospects outcropped, but it didn't really identify and understand the whole scale of the system. So we've now got a first mover opportunity to come in here and apply all the new ideas that we've just learnt and apply that on a much larger scale here, and also to use geophysics to potentially join the dots up over 30 kilometres on this structure. So the potential for this, the potential scalability of this project is quite exciting. Oh, okay. Just on the board, we've got strong discovery experience right through to mine development experience, so we're skilled to take this project right through. Oops. And yeah, just summing up, please, I invite you to come and stop by the booth, and yeah, thank you for your time.